Welcome back. Today we're making our own soil at home using the Mel's Mix Recipe from the all-new Square Foot Gardening book. I initially got this from a couple of James Prigione's videos, and last year I used this Mel's Mix in my garden for the first time, and my flowers and my food grew beautifully. So, we're going to talk about how to make the mix, what tools you need, and also how to save money if you can't get to some of the ingredients. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, we're going to need compost, and that's going to be our main source of nutrition for our soil. This will replace the need for fertilizer when you initially plant, but you can still use fertilizer if you'd like. I initially tried blended compost, like it's mentioned in the all new square foot gardening book, but it attracted moths to the crops, and that wasn't good at all. So I've learned how to just basically rely on black cow. And our peat moss, it's going to make our soil mix lighter and helps it retain water. You can also use Coco Coir instead of peat moss, and even there's something called Pitt moss. The peat and the Coco Coir both have pros and cons, and you'll find folks online that favor one over the other. And lastly, our friend vermiculite. You'll need coarse vermiculite, not super coarse, not medium. The square foot book, the square foot gardening book recommends only coarse vermiculite, and you may have to order it in order to get it. Some people like perlite, but it doesn't hold the moisture as well as the vermiculite does, and it really makes a difference. Last year, I had some watermelons that were trying to struggle, and when I added more vermiculite to that soil and amended it, it really made a difference almost immediately. You'll want 2 or 3 5-gallon buckets. This one, as you see, is from Harbor Freight, and I did make a notation on it where it's about half full because that kind of helps me when I'm doing my measurements of the different ingredients for the soil mix. It's great to have a medium sized shovel like this one. That will help you when you're trying to mix all the ingredients in the soil mix. And some people use tarps, but I actually use these large storage containers. I love them because you can see the wheels are down there on one end, and then when we go down to the other end, there's a handle down here that you can pull those, and those handles are very nice and strong. I've moved these when these containers are completely full. They're excellent to mix everything, and they're also excellent if you have to have extras and you don't, you're not sure how much soil you're going to need, and they will store those extras for you. And here's a look at our peat moss out of the bag, that blue and white bag I showed earlier. This is just kind of give you an idea of how it looks when when I put it in the storage container, because I do have a separate container that I keep that peat in. Okay, we've got a little bit of the mixture in our container, but it's almost empty. So that's why I want to go ahead and make some more mix on today. And our recipe calls for 1/3 of each item. So that's going to be 1 bucket of compost, 1 bucket of peat moss or cocoa coir, and 1 bucket of vermiculite. You'll notice here that I may vary my recipe a little bit because I've learned over time to kind of tweak mine to put a little less vermiculite and maybe a little bit more of the compost, and that saves money. And so I'm just going to kind of go into that more, but your main ingredients would be 1/3 of each. Okay, our peat moss is in, and next up is our vermiculite. And here's our vermiculite for moisture retention. You can see how it moves easily, and that's why people always say it's good when you're talking about loosening the soil, keeping it loose for drainage. And also, some crops need that loose soil to grow better. So, yeah, it's great to add the vermiculite, and you can save a little money if you want to use a little bit less on that vermiculite. You'll learn your ratios over time, the ratios that work best for your garden. And finally, we have our compost. You'll find that compost a lot of times is going to be a star product in your garden because it's mentioned and you can see on the bag it's a balanced fertilizer, and it's that built-in fertilizer, and it really gives a lot of good nutrients to the plant. See how dark and rich that color is? That's a good sign because I've bought other compost before that didn't have that kind of rich color on them. Also, this black cow I found is not as susceptible, really hardly any susceptibility to disease and things of that nature. So that's also a positive thing because some of these other composts seem to attract pests that will eat the crops. And I know that from personal experience. And I'm just going to mix this thoroughly with the shovel. I'm kind of breaking some of this up first with the shovel. But yeah, just going to kind of turn this over. One thing you can also do, sometimes when I'm doing these mixes, I will actually have, if especially if you have like 3 buckets and you've got everything measured out already, you can put a portion of each bucket, maybe half of what you have in each bucket in there, and then mix that together. Then go back, add more of each and mix it in, so you want to kind of have an even distribution of everything throughout. That's one tip I've learned that kind of helps with the mixing of this. Also want to talk, as I'm doing this, want to kind of talk about some money saving tips, some other things you can do with this to save money beside reducing the amount of vermiculite you use. The first option is to make your own compost at home. If you can reduce the materials you have to buy, compost is the easiest way to do that. And plus, you'll keep adding compost as you refresh your soil over time. So that's the first way to save some money and when you're making your own soil at home. Another way to save money is to buy in bulk, especially when you're talking about your vermiculite, which tends to be more on the expensive side. It works very well, but it's normally going to probably be your most expensive ingredient in your mix. You can also save money with alternative recipes. For example, if you can't get to the coarse vermiculite, you can do a recipe that's 2/3 compost and then 1/3 peat or cocoa coir, and that will also work in the garden. And if you find that you cannot access the peat moss or the cocoa coir, another alternative recipe is to do 2/3 compost and 1/3 of the coarse vermiculite. An important note here, I noticed that some channels promote discarding soil, but Mel's Mix is which is what we're making here, is made to last. You'll want to keep your Mel's Mix for use each season, and all you need to do is refresh it with compost or other soil amendments as needed. And your soil level may drop over time. That's perfectly natural. Just whenever you lose an inch or two of soil, just top it off by mixing in more fresh milled mix into the same proportions that we've done today. And now that you know how to make your own soil at home, do you plan on doing that, or do you plan on buying your soil still from your local hardware or big box store? Comment back if you plan on using the bag soil, or DIY if you plan on making your own. And as we wrap up, I invite you to like, comment, and share with anyone that you think may be starting their own garden or may be interested in possibly making their own soil at home. So today we made our DIY soil using the Mel's Mix recipe, and we talked about some ways you can save money as you make this soil at home. If you found this helpful, I'd like to invite you to join my free Skool community where you can also ask more in-depth questions you have about gardening and interact in the community with other gardeners as we learn and grow together. And here's our final mix. It's rich and ready to use, full of wonderful ingredients for our plants and flowers. Thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you next time.